My name is Alyssa Thompson, and I'm going to persuade you about why schools should not have uniforms. It's ironic how schools try to teach their children that we live in a free country, when the school board tries to take away a student's freedom of expression. As a student who attended public schools, I can tell you that telling a child what they have to wear every morning when they wake up is not going to motivate them to do very well in school. Now, I know that some of you may be parents and think that uniforms are the answer. They will lower costs for you, that they will bring a safer environment to your child's school, but this is a common misconception. School uniforms should not be mandatory in all public schools. I will cover 3 points: how uniforms suppress student self-expression, the misconception of the advantages in uniforms, and also an alternative to uniforms. I would like to begin by discussing how uniforms stifle a student's freedom to express themselves. One of the biggest known disadvantages to implementing school uniforms is that it suppresses a child's self-expression. The school's first and primary function is to educate, and we all know that. Secondly, it's to create a platform for socialization. Mandatory uniforms would play a big role in stifling a student's creativity and independence. According to a study examining the effects of uniforms on student performance, there is no significant association between the use of uniforms and higher student achievement. Students can express themselves and show who they are in a lot of ways, and clothing is a huge way. This is the outfit I wore on the first day of school. It may not say as much to you, but it expresses a lot of who I am. But if I had a uniform on, you wouldn't have known that. Self-expression is very important to a student as they grow up, and for healthy development, they should very well be able to wake up every morning and decide for themselves what they want to wear, as opposed to schools teaching conformity and stripping them of their individuality. Schools should be teaching and celebrating the diversity of all their children. A uniform dress code only creates resentments and conflicts with administration. Unfortunately, many schools are beginning to jump on the uniform bandwagon. According to a national survey of elementary and middle school principals, 10% of the 755 respondents said that their schools had already adopted a uniform policy, and another 11% considering the concept. At the end of the day, no child will be motivated to do exceptional work when they hold bitterness to the school. Secondly, I would like to clear up some common misconceptions that people connect to uniforms. It's a common mistake for a parent to think that having uniforms would be cheaper, as opposed to taking their children back to school shopping. The parents, however, do not take into account that their child will still need clothes for when they get out of school, on the weekends, or other miscellaneous occasions. Also, it is not as if you just buy one uniform. Your child will need several uniforms wearing it 5 days a week, meaning you'll need to buy several uniforms for them or be doing laundry twice as much as before. For families that are struggling, uniforms are almost out of the question. Some families can hardly afford to take their children to second-hand shops, much less buy them several uniforms. Other families are so misfortunate that they solely rely on hand-me-downs and handmade clothing. What will those families do? It's also thought that uniforms will improve safety among the schools. Some argue that students will be bullied less, but their children will always find a way to judge their peers. If not by their clothes, then by their hair, skin, accessories, or popularity. Some think that a uniform dress code will help spot intruders easily, but an intruder could just as easily put on slacks and a polo if they wanted to blend in and intrude so badly, don't you think? Based on examination of the history of uniforms in Korean schools, the attitudes and habits of students in relation to their uniforms prove that school uniforms and appearance restrictions do not improve grades, but deny students the expression of individuality and creativity. Lastly, I would like to talk to you about an alternative to uniforms. Dress codes can just as effectively reduce distractions for students by prohibiting any gang-related apparel, drug or alcohol-related apparel, and so on. Although it's argued that students still break the dress code, students can also tweak uniforms to make them just as inappropriate. Girls can roll up their skirts, and boys can untuck their shirts and let their pants sag. A uniform cannot stop all distractions either. Students may put on heavy makeup or accessories to try and save their last bit of self-expression they have left. All these issues collectively show us that school uniforms should not be mandatory in all schools. In conclusion, I have explained how uniforms inhibit self-expression, spoke about several misconceptions that people have with uniforms, and shared alternatives to uniforms. School uniforms should not be mandatory in all public schools. I believe that all students should be able to express themselves to a certain extent in school. It helps them grow and mature as a person and teaches that everyone is different with their own style. This world is a truly diverse place. Children need to learn this and embrace individuality. If schools suppress our students now into conformity, how will they learn that everyone is different? How long was that?